Hi, I'm Beryl, and the theme for this week's episode is kind of not so much a theme as just like a working title that I've been thinking about, and it's the dish that I wish you knew. And I had this idea that all of us have these preconceived notions and stereotypes around foods and cuisines around the world. And I asked all of you, what is the dish from your culture or cuisine that you wish people knew about instead of just what the stereotype is? And so that's what we're doing. I talked to people in this episode from Greece, Egypt, and Croatia. And I found it to be incredibly enlightening and really special, and I hope that you guys do as well. So with that, let's start.
Hello, my name is Vivi and I come from a small town in Greece called Karpenisi. When people think about Greek food, they usually think about dishes like moussaka, souvlaki and pasticcio. Very hearty, meaty and heavy kind of foods. But the Mediterranean and Greek cuisine are heavily plant-based as well. So the dish I wish people knew about from my country is our Greek kolokithopita. Kolokithopita is one of our many Greek pies. It consists of about 6 or 7 layers of filo pastry and a zucchini or butternut squash filling with feta and eggs. It's hard to describe what this dish tastes like because, to me at least, it just tastes like home. When it's just out of the oven, you bite into the very crusty filo and the sweetness of the warm pumpkin hits you, while the random pieces of feta provide for this great salty contrast. The taste is heavenly. It's such a special dish, I think, for all Greek people. I always remember the sound of the rolling pin hitting the table while my mom was making her homemade filo. This food is part of every single happy childhood memory I have. Not only that, but this kind of pie is a very big part of our Greek culture. After World War II, the majority of Greek people lived in poverty. So the best way to utilize small amounts of flour was to combine it with anything you could grow in your garden. I love how our grandmas would just mix whatever they had available in their pantries without looking for fancy and expensive ingredients. The creativity of these foods in combination with the very short ingredient list always make me feel so grateful for my culture and for the teachings it has to provide. I want people to know about this dish in hopes of them discovering Greece in a more meaningful way. Our food is a reflection of how difficult times can result into making beautiful memories and results.
I have Greek kolokithopita, and this is my second time working with phyllo, and I'm feeling more and more confident. I got a big piece of feta in that one. This definitely feels like something that I would be buying instead of making, so I feel very proud that I made it. I thought that Vivi's story was so beautiful and so moving, and in general, so much about food is really the story behind it. It's not always about the dish itself, and that's kind of what I wanted out of this little series, was a chance for people to talk about dishes that really matter to them. And I'm just really happy with how this has started. This is actually more simple to make than you might think. Grating the zucchini was exhausting. Oh my God, I'm tired. I was just like all of my arm strength just like grating this thing, and I think I had to take, I did have to take a few breaks. I think that with butternut squash, this would be so good. Almost more dessert-like, perhaps. Oh my God, can you hear the crunch? Right? I can tell you what, this pie is not gonna last long in this house. This might be one of those dishes that I feel like has universal appeal because zucchini has such a delicate flavor. So something like this, really what you're tasting is the feta and the yogurt and the phyllo. And that's good.
Hi everyone, my name is Beryl Shereshewsky. I'm from Alexandria, Egypt. So when people first think about Egypt, I don't really imagine that they think about specific cuisines, but I wish more people know about our dishes. And today I'm going to be talking about kushari, our national dish. The origin story of this dish is a bit undetermined. The dish we know today, it was assembled in the 40s of the 19th century. So this dish has been eaten for more than 100 years now. It's an old, beautiful dish. The main ingredients of this dish are rice, vermicelli, lentils, chickpeas, pasta, two kinds of pasta, two sauces, tomato sauce, and da'a, which is a cuminy garlic sauce. If I would describe how it tastes like, I would say it's a party of flavor in your mouth. You get the spiciness of the tomato sauce, you get the tanginess of the cuminy garlicky sauce, you got this soft textures of rice and lentils and pasta, and you got this crispy sweet onion on top. So you got everything you would like in one bite. And I love how it doesn't have a very specific ingredient that you will only find in Egypt. You can find the ingredients anywhere, so you can make it literally anywhere in the world. So if I would say why this dish is special to me, I have such a poetic reason. If you've gone to Egypt, you will know Egyptians are not the same. We have different colors, we have different traditions and customs, but at the end we're all Egyptians. So kushari is eaten by everyone. If you're poor, you're rich, you're young, you're old, whatever you are, you will eat it and you will like it. So it's so good and it can't go wrong.
Well, that was a lot of work. I had one burner really to do all of this on, so I'm pretty proud of myself. I mean, this is the ultimate carb bomb. It could be heavy, obviously, between the rice and the pasta and the lentils and the chickpeas, but you have these two very vinegary and tangy sauces that help kind of brighten everything, and I mean, it's just like the ultimate comfort food. So I've actually been to Egypt before. My sister was living there and I went to visit her and I traveled all around the country. It was absolutely amazing. And I found that koshari actually has kind of slight variance depending on where you are. The sauces are actually different. So in Alexandria, where Mayar lives, the sauces are a little bit different than in Cairo, where I had the majority of my koshari. Also, Mayar, you and I are soul sisters on the crispy fried onion. I love them. And if you guys have seen my other video, you know I love them too. Crispy fried onions. I did buy chickpeas that I didn't have to cook, and I bought the lentils pre-cooked. I really think what this was about was making the sauces. Everything else could kind of be assembled even with leftovers because all the flavor comes in the sauces. I think that what Mayar said was really nice, that it doesn't matter who you are, young or old, rich or poor, that this is a very universal dish in Egypt. And I think in general there's something really nice about that, about a dish that kind of unifies a country that has so much diversity and is so spread out. One country truly united by its love for carbs. Mayar, thank you for sharing this dish with us. On to our last dish.
Hello, my name is Dorian. I live near Zadar, Croatia. When it comes to Croatian cuisine, there are no particular stereotypes that come to mind, at least not that I know of. Today we're going to be talking about a seafood dish, which is namely black risotto, or as we call it, crni rižot. It's a cuttlefish and cuttlefish ink risotto that is usually prepared hot, either as an appetizer or even as the main course. To me, this dish doesn't have the usual seafood taste. It has this strong but not overpowering cuttlefish taste. If you don't know how cuttlefish tastes like, it's similar to squid, a little bit more intense. We usually, if not always, eat it during the summer, so it's very reminiscent of the summertime to me. My dad will prepare this dish for our guests as an appetizer, and they are always amazed. It's not a dish that you'll come across every day. It looks interesting and it tastes amazing. Personally speaking, I love how it's silky and creamy, and along with the tender cuttlefish pieces just creates this amazing mix of flavors and textures. And that's why I'm sharing this recipe. I want everyone to try it. If you like seafood or risottos, I highly suggest you try it.
Okay, final dish is the black cuttlefish ink risotto from Croatia called sirni risotto. And it's interesting because in Russia, the word sir means cheese, and so I just kind of kept confusing the word sirni for black. Anyway, interesting. Fun fact about languages. Whoa. Yeah. Oh my god, I feel like I'm in a restaurant. I've never worked with cuttlefish ink before in my life. I imagine I'm not alone in that statement. It was not that easy to find. And I think it was interesting because Dorian was like, oh yeah, you can get it in these little packs.
I want to show you, these are the ink packets. I don't know if you can see them.
I had to go to a specialty Italian store and I have now this jar of cuttlefish ink. What do I do with the rest of the ink? You need so little of it and it goes so far. This is dark. I have never made true risotto like this. You need to stir it non-stop. Oh my god, I'm so tired. I mean, it tastes amazing. I just don't think that I taste the ink. Does the ink have flavor? I don't know. I don't think it does. Is it just for decoration? I like that this is Dorian's father's recipe and that they eat it often in the summer. There's something really nice about that. I imagine sitting on a patio overlooking the Dalmatian coast in Croatia and eating this. And then I'm back here in my New York City apartment. I think this episode has been so great and I would love to do it again. If you have a story about a dish that you would like to share with everybody from your culture, please leave it in the comments and I will go through the comments and reach out to a few of you who I would like to do the video with. So that's it. I hope that you guys have learned something from this episode and have a new appreciation for maybe cuisines that you already know about, or maybe you've learned something new about a cuisine you didn't know about. And with that, I will see you all in my next episode.